What's going on YouTube? Welcome to another episode of Technique Tuesday. On this episode, we're going to be going over a couple drills that can help you improve your weapon flow. Very important when it comes to Filipino martial arts. So grab your weapon and let's get training. Alright, so when we're talking about weapon flow, we're talking about the ability to flow from one technique to the other, specifically offensive for today. Now, normally what you want to look for is the cleanliness, the ability to stay smooth transitioning from different levels. We also did another video that's called How to Improve Your Weapon Control, which is very similar to what we're going to go through. So if you want to check that video, click this link up here. Otherwise, let's get to the first drill. Okay, so the first drill is going to be, we're going to take the X pattern, we're going to keep it very basic, and we're going to do a couple of variations. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to start stationary, but what I want to look for is to do the X pattern in 3 different ranges. So we're going to look for long range, middle range, and close range. It's very simple. It'll look like this. So I'm going to start in my natural stance. For me, it's my right leg in front. I'm going to do my X in the long range, which means I'm going to stretch and really widen it. Okay, I'm going to flow right into the neutral zone, which is kind of my normal. This is the medium range. And then I'm going to compress into a short range X pattern. Okay, now it's not to say that these 3 strikes are going to be done all the time. More so what it's going to be is that I'm comfortable with compressing or expanding my technique at will. Okay, so one more time, we're going to be going long range to middle range to close range. Okay, so a couple ways that it's going to help your body register the 3 different ranges. Although you're doing one technique, there's a couple body cues. So for me, when I do my long range, I'm going to really twist and shoot my hips and really reach out as far as I can. Okay, so I'm going big and big swings. When I flow into medium range, this is normal, so I should already know this. This is what I've been practicing from the get-go. Now when I go to close range, I'm going to squeeze my elbows inside. Still going to twist, but it's going to be a lot more tighter and a lot more compressed. Alright, so moving on to our next drill, we're going to take the X pattern and we're going to use it in the medium range, so the natural style, but we're going to do it in 3 different lines. We're going to start with the high line, which is neck and up. Then we're going to progress down into the midline, which is our body, and eventually land to the low line, which is waist down, legs, or knees. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to go into our stance again, and we're going to do 1 X per line. Okay, so I'm going to aim a little high for the high line. I'm going to flow natural into the midline, and then I'm going to kneel while flowing into the low line. Okay, if you get comfortable with that, we're actually going to continue the flow when we go from low line, back to midline, and shoot up for the high line. Okay, so the thing that you want to watch out for here is when we're going from mid to low or low to mid, you want to make sure that when you descend, you want to control it. So you don't want to go X, pop down here and then go into the X. It's very, very rugged. So you want to be nice and smooth, slowly descending and slowly ascending. Nice and smooth so that it doesn't disrupt your X pattern. Alright, so for our next drill, we're going to take the X pattern and we're going to cut it up and add 2 separate techniques to it. So I'm going to be adding a round stab and a reverse stab. What that looks like is I start my X normally as it comes up. As I'm preparing for number 2, I'm going to turn this into a reverse stab, which is going to cause me to twirl down into the final part of the X, and as I loop it, I'm going to come around with a round stab, twirl back into the X. Okay, so what I'm looking for here is when I swing nice and smooth, as I flow into the stab, I want to make sure that it's nice and firm, and really have that kind of thrusting motion. Not so much that I go too far, and not too little where I don't really commit to the technique. Nice and even. So I go smooth, stab here, smooth, stab here, smooth, stab here, smooth, stab here. Alright, so what I'm looking for in this drill, the 2 separate motions I want to be in control of. I don't want it to look smooth, 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 smooth. I want to have some contrast here. So really emphasize that with your hips and your body. Keep your core tight, control it, and then relax. Alright, so next drill, we're going to be moving on to the X pattern. We're going to do it both in the standard and the reverse. This time when we're striking, we're going to be doing what's called the TIRAPILON. Basically what that is, it's a circular strike done in a whipping motion. So I'm going to do it very slowly first. We're going to start with the regular X. We strike halfway, we do a circle, and finish the cut. We bring it to the other side, almost like the twirl from the last one, bring it down. Now we're going to go up. So I'm going to go palm up, strike halfway, circle, bring it to the other side, halfway, and circle. Okay, when you do it all together, it looks a lot more complicated than it is, so make sure you start slowly. Where here we whip and down, whip and down, whip and up, whip and up. Then we would try to flow it to make sure that we can continue it and really just work with the angles. And as you get more comfortable, you can start speeding it up and trying to making it loop together, making it all one solid motion. Okay, so what we're looking for here, and the reason why we're doing this is because what I'm trying to do is teach myself the weight and the strength of my strike. So every stick is going to be different. It might be different in length, it might be different in density, and you're going to learn that very quickly when you whip it and try to control it back into a smooth line. As I do that in different corners, I'm going to feel the energy it takes to get it from one side to the other. That way I know when to control, I know when to be smooth, and I know when to keep it a little more stiff so I can finish it much quicker, smoother, or potentially softer. Alright, so for our last drill, we're going to do a little bit of augmented work. Basically all I'm doing is I'm taking my safety hand and I'm gluing it to my stick and I'm maneuvering around in different positions. We're going to do 2 blocks. I'm going to keep it very simple. A lot of techniques that you can actually use to work on your control or your flow are augmented techniques. Okay, when it flows around your body, understanding where it is. We'll keep it very simple for now so we don't overwhelm you guys. So we're going to have 2 positions. Number 1 is I'm just going to do this jam block here. So I'm going to augment it with my safety hand and almost make like an X. Okay, from this position I'm going to transition into the SUMBRADA. So I'm going to take my left hand and I'm going to scoop it underneath. And as I do that, I'm going to stretch the hand and draw the umbrella block or the roof block over my head. Okay, so from this position here, we roll, keep it nice and connected. Okay, you don't want to be too stiff where you feel really compressed and you can't get to that transition, and you don't want to be too loose where the stick starts bouncing off and away from your hand. Nice and smooth, here and back. And eventually what you can turn this into is when we get into here, bring it over your head and into one of the techniques. So if you do the X pattern, if you do the X pattern with the stabs, or with the TIRAPILON. Alright, so you got all these techniques, you have all these different ways to approach getting your flow to the next level. But the most important thing that you need to realize is that you need to get your reps in. You need to simply practice, whether it's 3 different techniques or just one over and over and over again. Because it's more than just writing it down and understanding that if I do techniques A, B, and C, I'll get there. It's a feeling, and that feeling is yours alone. So it's really the time to fine-tune yourself and learn how to flow in your own manner. That's how you're going to get better. Alright guys, so that was your video for the week. Remember, slow and steady wins the race. If you haven't already, make sure you follow us on Instagram for some exclusive content. It's going to give you some updates on our YouTube channel if we don't post in a week or so. Our apologies, but thank you 9K. Thank you for sticking with us. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and until next time, we'll catch you guys then.